All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lunchtable Sports Podcast. It's an exciting time for NFL fans right now. We got pretty crazy first round of the NFL playoffs. Massive comeback by the Jaguars. We had a big upset. Giants and Danny Dimes upset the Vikings. We had a pretty close game with the Ravens and the Bengals. So just pretty crazy weekend, pretty entertaining weekend.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend of football to watch for sure. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags coming back was wild. So you said the Giants beat Minnesota. To be honest, I don't know. I didn't find that too much of an upset. I never really thought the Vikings were world beaters this year. They won like so many games and that were like 7 point games or field goal wins. Like I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of the same with me.
yeah, Cincinnati pulling that out. Good. Shout out to Huntley, by the way. He played really well. Um, Tom Brady out in the first round, which some people are saying he might be done. Which I love texting my dad that after they lost, just a little rub it in on him a little bit. Um, yeah, San Fran got it done against Seattle. I think that they pulled away in the second half. I didn't watch the game, but I'm right about that, right? Like it was
Yeah.
close till
Yeah, it
like the
was
second
close all
half.
the way to the end. And then they pulled away in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
but I'm excited for this weekend. Should be some good games. Yeah, I'll throw it back over to you. What do you think is going to happen this weekend?
yeah, I mean, it should be set up for another pretty crazy weekend. I mean, here's the big stat is Trevor Lawrence is undefeated on Saturdays. He's never lost in his entire career, going back all the way to
Wow.
high school playoffs undefeated, college Saturday game day undefeated. And then here we are. He's playing the Chiefs on a Saturday at 4:30 in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
That's going to be, in my opinion, that might be an underrated game. People are already saying, "Oh, the Jags don't belong." They've heard that. They've already heard out all that talk, all playoff long. Like a team like the Lions, for example. I've talked some smack on Twitter about that, saying because the Lions beat them by 30, if they don't belong. But yeah, the Jags have heard that. I mean, that shows in like second half comeback against the Chargers. That team is just fueled by so much just people saying that to him. And I think the Chiefs got everything on the line here. It's got all the makings for upset right there.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm happy for Jags fans. They've had a rough few years coming in this year. Like two first overall picks. I don't know. I think they've got a really bright future now, especially Trevor Lawrence. I think he had a tough rookie year, but he's really turned around this year. I don't know. I think I'm still gonna pick the Chiefs if we want to get into the predictions now. I'm still gonna pick the Chiefs in that game. I just think that they're a wagon this year, and I don't see the Jags beating them, but I still think it'll be a good game. Um, Cincinnati Buffalo. I'm excited. These other, I think that'll be in my opinion, just predicting it. I think that KC game will be the least exciting, which I think it'll still be exciting. So saying that, I think it'll be the least exciting. I think that Cincinnati Buffalo game is going to be a really good game. Um, Dallas San Fran is going to be really good. I think that Dallas team is going to give San Fran a run for their money in that one. And I think that Philly game, I think the Giants have been underrated this year. They have a really good young defense. Daniel Jones has been playing really well. Saquon is back this year, fully healthy. Has had a really good year. Yeah, so I don't know. You can cop in your predictions first, and I'll go after you. But yeah, just saying the games a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Just going back, I didn't really give a definitive pick for that Jags Chiefs game, but I'm definitely taking the Chiefs. I wanted to give a strong reasoning for the Jags. Um, and I also want to speak on how big of a role Doug Peterson played in Trevor Lawrence, really
Yeah,
big second year jump. I mean, coming into his rookie year, everyone thought Urban Meyer, because he's always had good quarterbacks. He's been a good quarterback developer throughout his coaching career. But as we saw, that jump to the NFL just didn't translate for them, and that really impacted Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. People were already writing him off, calling him a bust. I wasn't going that far last year, but Doug Peterson came in, completely remodeled this offense. Brought some guys like Christian Kirk, Zay Jones over, which everybody were saying like, why are you paying these guys so much money? These aren't top tier receivers, and they absolutely proved themselves this season. And just his second year develop as a quarterback, going from bust to top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson's got to be up there for coach of the year. But yeah, in the end, I'm picking the Chiefs. Mahomes is my MVP pick.
Yeah. I'll hop in here quick too. I think you brought up a good point that I think the Jags have a really underrated offense around Trevor Lawrence. Christian Kirk was really, really good this year. Zay Jones is very underrated as well. So yeah, just to say that quickly before I have the next game. Cincinnati Buffalo. I don't know, man. This is gonna go either way. I think this will be a really good game. I think Miami, no Tua, gave Buffalo a pretty good game last weekend.
Mhm.
But you could say the same thing about Cincinnati as well. Baltimore played really well against Cincinnati. No Lamar. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be a really good game. But I'm going to go Cincinnati in this one. I think Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty is going to win. I think Jamar Chase, that offense is really good. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm kind of second guessing myself now. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Cincinnati and I'll stop talking before I change
Yeah,
my answer.
yeah, that's totally game of the week. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if this ends up being game of the playoffs. I mean, I am expecting a total brawl in this game.
yeah,
Total who wants it more. These are two of the best teams in the NFL. They got two of the top five quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. I mean, it pretty much just comes down to which quarterback wants this more, what team wants this more.
yeah.
And I'm going to pick the Bills here in a close one.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit different from you, but I mean,
No, yeah.
I definitely
No,
could see
this
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 going
game being
overtime.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
I mean, obviously you got the DeMar Hamlin storyline going, so you got the
Hmm.
Bills all already motivated for that. I am concerned a little bit with how they kind of struggle with that Skylar Thompson led Dolphins team.
Yeah,
Um, that wouldn't impact my decision to pick the Bills too much. I definitely think they'll learn from their mistakes that game. I think they almost went into it expecting to play a rookie, inexperienced quarterback like Skylar Thompson, and that almost like not taking the Dolphins seriously enough. I think that may have hindered their performance, but I definitely expect a bounce back game here for the Bills and a win.
yeah, no, yeah. And Skylar Thompson played really well too. To give credit to him and the Dolphins, they gave the Bills a good game without Tua. So yeah, shout out to them. I think you could say the same thing about Cincinnati too. Is they played a Ravens team with no Lamar Jackson, and it was a pretty good game as well. So I don't know. I think this game could go either way for sure. Moving on here though, next game, Dallas, San Fran. I think this is also going to be a really, really good game. Um, yeah, I don't know. You could go either way with this one too. I think I'm gonna go Dallas though, without speaking too much. I think Dallas just rolled over Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. Absolutely dominated them, and they missed. I don't know. Brett Maher missed like 5 extra points. I don't know. I think they're gonna figure some stuff out with that too this week. I think Brett Maher will be back and be like he was this whole season. But I think this game will be a battle as well. I think I'm gonna pick Dallas though, and yeah, I'll roll with the Cowboys for this one.
Yeah, I definitely think this game's gonna be a really good game as well. I mean, you got two teams who are pretty hot right now. The 49ers, I mean, Brock Purdy came out of nowhere, Mr. Relevant. The big storyline going into the season was Trey Lance, and it turned out to be the rookie quarterback, Brock Purdy. And the way Brock Purdy's playing, you can't bench a guy like that next season. Say Purdy
Yeah,
goes and, say he loses in like the NFC Championship game or something like that. I just don't think you bench a guy like that. He's playing very good. He threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the wild card game. Um, and it really poses the question, what do you do with Trey Lance? If I were to give a solution, I'd say put it in a quarterback battle into camp, say don't give a guy the starting job. Um, give each guy a chance at starting quarterback. Brock Purdy probably have the edge because of his success so far this season, but they're in a very good spot quarterback wise. But back to the game now. I am going to predict the 49ers to win this one. I just think that defense is they're just clicking right now. On all levels, Nick Bosa is playing out of his mind this season. He's most likely going to win Defense Player of the Year. All their linebackers, Drake Greenlaw and Fred Warner, are both playing great. They got kind of underrated stars in the secondary, like Charvarius Ward's had a great year. Hopefully I'm not butchering his name. Talona Hafunga from USC, who was a later round pick last year, who's really emerged this year. But yeah, they're kind of rolling right now. They're on a roll. Cowboys lost that game to I want to say Yeah, they lost 26-6 against the Commanders last game of the season. I would say they bounced back with the Buccaneers. Just to wrap it up here, I got the Niners in a close one.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think it's the same as the Cincinnati Buffalo game. I think this game could go either way. Two very
Mm.
good teams. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. Just to go back to Brock Purdy a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do next year, but I think what is he 6-0, 7-0 right now as a
Yeah, he's
starter.
undefeated.
And I completely agree with you. I don't think you can bench a guy like that next year, and just completely hand the offense back to Trey Lance. Yeah, so I think quarterback battle. I saw some things like Tom Brady. They might try to sign Tom Brady, which makes no sense to me. I
Yeah,
don't see that
no.
happening at all. Um, I don't know. If I'm the 49ers next year, I think I'm rolling with Brock Purdy. But to wrap that up on that game, move on here. Um, Philly and New York. Who do you got in that one? I'll let you start with this one.
Yeah, yeah. So Philly, I mean, going in the playoffs, number one seed. Giants are, that team's kind of lurking. Brian Daboll, excellent hire from the Bills, was the OC, or excellent hire for the Giants was the OC at the Bills, excuse me. But the development for Daniel Jones under him has been awesome. I mean, he has been so improved. I mean, he looked like a bust in his first 2 years. He looked awful. And this year, he's just really done everything good. I mean, he's only got, I think, 5 picks this year. And he's got around 700 rushing yards and thrown for over 3,000 yards. So he's been great. Saquon's been great. But at the same time, this is also a very young team. Um, they're inexperienced at a lot of places. They got a lot of depth guys starting on that offense, like Isaiah Hodgins, um, Richie James, Darius Slayton. So I am going to pick the Eagles. I just think Eagles are the much more talented team. Just the way Jalen Hurts has turned it around this season has been so much fun to watch. This offense has been like one of the most fun offenses to watch. That trade for AJ Brown was a great trade. This defense that they signed a guy like Hassan Reddick, they signed James Bradbury, additions like that. I'm just gonna pick the Eagles in this one. I don't think it'll be a close game. I think they could win by 1 or 2 touchdowns. Um, but yeah, this Eagles roster, excuse me, is just way more talented.
No, yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I think Philly wins this game. I'm not really sure how the game's gonna go, to be honest with you. I think it's either gonna be really close, coming down to the wire. I think either the Giants are gonna play really well and give the Eagles a run for their money, or it's gonna be kind of a blowout by not a blowout by like regular standards, but like a playoff blow, like 2 touchdowns or so, something like that. But I agree with everything you said. I think the Phillies are the better team. I think the Giants are a few years away from making a really deep run in the playoffs. Just like you said, they're young. They have a young defense. Deion Jones is a young quarterback. Saquon's still young. I think they're a few pieces away in some positions to make a really good run in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. Go Philly. Um, yeah, moving on here though, we can do the next round. I mean, actually, no, I'll stop there. Throw it back to you.
Yeah, I mean that's all we got for the round. I mean, I guess we can just say,
You know what?
who
Actually, I gotta say something here before we go into the playoffs.
okay.
I think we do. I think we should do some fantasy talk right now because I'm upset about the fantasy season.
Say what's on your mind. This is your venting place. Get it
Yeah,
off your
I'm
chest.
upset. I'm upset about the fantasy season. We talked about my team in the last. I think it was the last epi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about my team. Loaded team.
Loaded.
The guys just couldn't get it done for me though. Couldn't get it done. Lost to Matt. Lost to Matt in the playoffs. Just a rough showing for me. And I ended up fourth place too because of the Bills in Cincinnati game. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Unfortunate
Brutal. I was upset.
circumstances.
I was upset.
I
Got next
mean,
year though. We're gonna bounce back next year.
bounce back. I mean, Adyn's team, let me speak on it. I know it's gonna rub a little salt in the wound a little bit, but for a 12-man team, his roster was stacked. I mean, he had Eckler, the number one player in fantasy football this season. He had Jamar, one of the top 5 receivers. Amon Ra, top 5 receiver. Joe Mixon, top 10. I don't want to rub salt in the wound, Adyn. This team probably should have won it all. I mean, it's just they couldn't perform at the end of the day. I thought the GM did a great job. I think the coach drew up some good game plans. I just think the players didn't want it enough. So
Yep,
that's all
completely
it comes
agree.
down to.
It's not on the GM in this one.
It
No, I'm the
isn't.
GM. I put them in a good place to win. Just then they couldn't get it done for me this year.
I
I had an
know.
underrated draft too. I had a good draft. I'm gonna pump my tires a little bit this year
Mhm.
because I've had a rough couple of years before this one.
Was.
Couple of close to last place finishes. I thought it was my year this year, get it done, but it's all right though. We'll bounce back next year. We should talk about your team. Okay,
Yeah,
last
yeah,
last place finish for Noah Bonner this year.
this season,
It's out of character. It's out of character for you.
you know, it's hard to win all the time. It's hard to win all the time. Sometimes, the top team, every once in a while, it's like I feel like someone else needs to take over this winning. I don't want it all for myself. But in all seriousness, my team was pretty good to start off the year. Started the season off 1-4 and went on I think like a 7-game win streak, to about 6-4. Um, and then that's when the injury started happening. Brees Hall towards ACL. I traded. Let's see here. Um, I'd say yeah. So I traded Joe Mixon, Adyn for CeeDee Lamb. At that point I had Saquon, Brees Hall, CeeDee Lamb, DeAndre Hopkins, and DJ Moore. So that team was, rolling. That's when I was on, that 7-game win streak. And then boom, Brees Hall towards ACL. I panicked. I traded CeeDee Lamb for Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor got hurt, and everything just boom, crashed and burned. I went on a 4-game losing streak to end the year. Went from fourth place to last place. Once I got to the playoffs, I implemented the successful taking strategy. I placed all my bench players in the starting lineup, and I tanked from there to get the number 1 overall pick. So I'm on the clock.
I will say you got unlucky this year with
Mm,
your players, but it's how the dominoes fall. Last place for Noah Bonner. I'm not gonna let that go anytime soon. And we can shout out the fantasy punishment on here too. Fantasy punishment. I think he's been slacking a little bit lately.
have been. Will not lie. I'll
Slacking.
own up to that.
Let's see, what's the account called? I'm looking here.
I forgot that username. It was a while ago, so I created the
Uh
account.
Fantasy punishment 22, all lowercase. Go check it out. Get him some likes. 10K likes he needs total. He's a ways away. 503 likes right now. He's got some work to do. I'll say that. Shout out the punishment on here. He could have picked the cage too, people.
The cage takes away
We
your
gave
honor.
him we
The
gave
cage
him
takes
the
away your
option of the
dignity.
cage. 10 minutes in the cage. You pick the TikTok thirst
Or
traps.
all this hair could get buzzed off too. You know
That is
that
an option as well. Yeah.
that's always an option.
That's not what I would pick, but you could pick that.
You know, there's a good shot. I could be picking number 1 overall next year and hitting the goalie. So you never know what happens on
I don't know.
TikTok.
First overall hasn't ended well for anyone in our league the last few years, though.
What'd you say?
First overall hasn't ended well for anyone in our league the past few years, though.
It hasn't. You're right, but it's a
No,
step in the right direction towards rebuilding that great franchise. I like to do rebuilds in NBA 2K. I like to do rebuilds in Madden. And the first step is getting that number 1 pick. So I'm gonna end the pot on there. I'm gonna say the rebuild is coming back. Saquon forever will not leave. The
oh,
dynasty's coming back.
Bones is he's part of the Detroit sports. He's on the up right now.
I'm
Detroit
on
is on
the
the up. Detroit's on the up. So is Bones.
I'm on the
After the punishment, though, everyone go check that out. By the way, send it to your friends.
for sure. Spread the love, spread the news. Fancy Freshman 22. All right, that's all I got.
I'm good too. Get
See you in the
up,
next one.